What if I did not come to the US for my MBA? Instead, I invested all the hard costs into Tesla's stock. Hey folks, this is Young from Career School. So today's video is around how much does an MBA cost? When I say how much it costs, it basically means how much did I spend in my MBA throughout the 2 years' time. So doing this actually surprised me a lot because it was way more than what I kind of expected at the beginning. So let me just start off. Like, this is totally me, my experience, and like how I think I spent on my 2 years MBA. And I came to the US with my wife, and we had a baby right after end of my first year of MBA. So we were 2 people for the first year, and then 3 people. Well, 2.5, I would say, but the 0.5 actually took a lot of money. So for the remaining year of my days in MBA, from 2018 to 2019. Anyway, so I have calculated how much it actually costs to do an MBA. I was just doing this for fun, but thought I would share with you all so that you will understand what it will take to get an MBA here in the US, especially for international students, right? Like, it's really important. You're risking everything to come to the US to get your MBA, and you need to know how much it costs, right? So let's go. Tuition. So the 2 years tuition, I think I spent around $130,000. Yes, that's around $65,000 for 1 year, and $130,000 for 2 years of MBA. Yeah. Oof. And then the second big piece was the rent. Luckily, I did my MBA in North Carolina, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, which is a very peaceful town, a school town, where the rent is not crazy expensive. So I was in a school dorm, which is provided for the family. I spent around $1,200 a month, and that kind of gave me around $28,800 for the 2 years' time. Not bad, actually. I mean, the rent is rent, but if you kind of apply this to maybe, let's say, New York or Chicago or those kind of big cities like San Francisco and all that, the amount will go up just crazily. But, you know, I feel like I was so lucky that I got into UNC because of these particular reasons, right? And then the other piece is going to be just living expenses, right? Like, just like your groceries, like your pizzas, like everything, starting from your phone bill, like just everything. The good part about living in the dorm was that I didn't really have to pay for internet. I didn't really have to pay for the cable TV, and I didn't really have to pay for water, gas, or electricity. Oh, that's actually huge. But I didn't really have to pay for those because I was living in a dorm. So I calculated this based on around $3,000 for 2 years. Just so you know, $3,000 I think is a reasonable amount for a 2-3 people household. So that's around $72,000 for the 2 years' time. I also included the cost that I spent on my car when I first came to the US. We bought a used 2016 Toyota RAV4 when we first came to the US. I think I bought it for like $20,000 or something like that. And then adding in the expenses, the costs of furnitures and stuff we have to buy in the beginning, I think it was around $10,000 as well. So the total is around $261,000 for the 2 years' time. $261,000. And it's not hard cost, but let's not forget about the opportunity cost, because my wife and I think we were making around $100,000 plus back in Korea. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of different stuff coming in to play when we calculate that. But if we consider that we both earn around $100,000 for 2 years. That's around $200,000. So if you consider the total amount, including the opportunity cost, will probably be more close to $461,000. Yep. Whew, that's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of money. And at the same time, I thought about like what are the stuff that I actually got out of MBA. Obviously, working here in the U.S., the opportunity to work in the U.S., working at Amazon, which is great, and then the network that I have now with a lot of my friends working in these big tech firms, and big firms out there in general. In the experience, of course, experience of getting an MBA and going through that, and just everything, right? So that's another thing. And I think the most probably important stuff for me was the time with the family, because in Korea we don't really get that time, because you gotta work, and then later that night you gotta drink with your team or with your people in your company, so you don't really get family time back. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's a lot of commitment. One more thing I did before wrapping up this video is, what if I did not come to the US for my MBA, but instead I invested all the hard costs, which is $261,000, into Tesla's stock, and then convert that to the value for today. So if we put $261,000 in Tesla on the day I arrived to the US, which is June 28th, 2017, that will be around $3 million as of end of January.